So welcome to Sunday School for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Let's now say the pledge of allegiance going to our divine constitution, bylaws, our 101s, our Moorish American prayer, and also the speeches and warnings from the Holy Prophet Nabi Ali. This unity that we, the sons and daughters of the ancient Moabite blood, have established upon these shores of northwest of Mexico in this alien civilization shall be preserved at all costs through the bonds of Ali's holy and divine laws. If we violate these universal laws and principles by preferring a stranger before thy own sacred blood, may the flaming swords of our forefathers turn upon us, the wrath of Allah strike us down 7 times. We pledge our allegiance to Prophet Nabi Ali and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Time never was Islam. I read from the Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine Constitution Bylaws, Salvation, Allah, Unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and then ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names was given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era in time now, and all men now must proclaim a free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Nabi Ali, the Prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and look after the duties of your household. Pardon self. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of uplifting and fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans, pardon self, must keep their hearts and minds pure of love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Nabi Ali, through the guidance of his Father, God Allah. Islam. Islam, Islam, Islam. Will come out the Moorish literature. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam, I'm glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they are found out from government officials in the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That's why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moors movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finances so badly as I do at present, so I can serve aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy. Because of my fame and nobility, the nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being hid. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, noble Ali, Islam. All rise for the Moorish American prayer. I know you can't rise, no, but still say it to yourself while you ride. Islam, face the east. Heels touching. Feet at a 90 degree. Spread your wings. Bow to the left, two to the right. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Ali. Amen. Islam.
You couldn't hear me, I know that. I'm almost home.
It's all well, man.
Islam. What's up, big brother?
Make sure your phone on mute, Mama, going to this lesson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, make sure your phone on mute, Mo.
Oh.
Islam. Thank you. So I want to give my honors. First, I want to give praise to Father God Allah before I give honors to anything, the Almighty, Eternal, Incomprehensible, the Author, Creator, and Governor of the world. I love Allah. Man, I had an emotional moment about Allah and the strength that He gave me, just to overcome some of the things that I've been trying to overcome. And man, it broke me down in tears. I broke down in tears more. So I praise Allah for that strength that He's given me. Islam. All honors to His noble prophet, Ali. Ali is our prophet, the last prophet in these days and times. So high honors to our prophet for bringing us his divine message of the everlasting gospel. And all honors to his forerunner, Marcus Garvey. All honors to all the prophets, all the true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, myself. All honors to all the faithful Moors. All honors to you, Danny Murray, for making your meeting on time, promptly, Islam. All honors to all the Grand Sheiks, all the members around the world. You know, all honors to everybody that's Moorish. All honors to our extended family. All honors to our red Moroccan flag with the 5-pointed green star. To represent them 5 highest principles known to man. All honors to our 5 principles. All honors to love. All honors to truth. All honors to peace. Ooh, that peace. I love that peace. That peace is very important. All honors to the freedom. Freedom is so important. All honors to justice. So we know Jesus means justice. All honors to the justice being fair, equal. All honors to our 5 principles, because without these 5 principles, we wouldn't be able to redeem ourselves. So all honors to that, and all honors to these Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his simple and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah, Islamism. I want to go into this Holy Quran today, and then we'll go into the rest of the lessons, the one-on-one keys later. Because what I noticed is that we all need correction, even myself as well. No one's perfect. The perfect man does not exist in flesh, not in flesh. So the brother man Jesus, Justice, Joshua, we're going to go into him and Barada, Jesus and Barada together. They read the sacred books, chapter 11. And when you get into Jesus and Barada, really Jesus had to correct Barada. And they had to read from the secret books. So a lot of our people don't like to be corrected. It's hard. It's a foe of all men, you know. It's something that's hard to take. I must admit myself, right? So correction is something that's needed, though, because if you have the wrong interpretation of things, then you're going to operate wrong, especially when you read these sacred books. And the word sacred means secret. You know what I'm saying? So this Quran is our secret book. This is secret lessons missing 18 years out the Bible. So I look at that as it's the same situation. We are reading from these sacred books right now, you know, which is the secret lessons missing 18 years of the Bible, of Jesus' life. Okay. So I'm gonna continue with this. Verse 1. It says, among the Buddhist priests was one who saw lofty wisdom in the words that Jesus spoke. It was Barado Arobu. Together, Jesus and Barado read the Jesus Psalms and prophets, read the Vedas, the Avesta, and the wisdom of Guatemala. 3. And as they read and talked about the possibilities of man, Barada said, man is the marvel of the universe. He is a part of everything, for he has been a living thing on every plane of life. Now listen what this brother is going to break down, because he breaking down pretty much more what is the science of us, how we come. There's a lot of debate and disagreements about how we actually was formed. A lot of people believe that, man has lived on every plane of life. Like we came from animals, or we evolved in some type of way. Like it was some type of evolution. And man don't understand what the evolution truly was. And that's why we have to go in this chapter, so we can understand the evolution of man, the creation and fall of man. Continue reading. Now, this is what Barada is saying. Verse 4. He said, time was when man was not. He said, time was when man was not. And then was a bit formless substance in the molds of time, and then a protoplasm. Right? So this is what Barada is saying. He's saying it was a time when man was not. And then within that time, in the molds of time, he eventually evolved from a protoplasm. Verse 5. By universal law, this is what Barada is saying. By universal law, all things tend upward to a state of perfection. The protoplasm evolved, becoming worm, then reptile, bird, and beast. And then at last it reached the form of man. So this is what Barada It's believing. And this is how he opened up after they discussing these books. They going into the secret books. They going into the Vedas, the Avesta. They going into the Psalms. And out of that, this is what he comes with. He says, okay, man tends to go upward to a state of perfections. But it's like, if you look at that concept, how wrong it is, because that's like we come from a protoplasm, we come from the soil of the earth, and then we formed into some type of worm. It's, what I'm saying, like we ascending up. But that's not true. We actually descended. We descendants. We not ascendants. You get what I'm saying? We are descendants, so we fell from somewhere. We come from a higher place, not a lower form. But rather, and you hear this in science. You will hear like Charles Darwin, the eugenics. You will hear Charles Darwin eugenics say we evolved from the monkey. You will hear different scientists teach this in the public schools, that we evolved, the theory of evolution. So this is why this lesson is important, because this debunks the theory of evolution. Because in the more science, we don't believe in that theory of evolution of us coming from monkey. Now, there is a story behind the monkey dealing with the hybrid humans that was formed with Yakub or Jacob, you want to call him in the Bible. So we know for a fact that it was a science experiment that went down for so many odd years, 600 years or whatever, selective breeding. We know we do have hybrid animals out here. We do have the donkey, which is nothing more but a mule mixed with a horse. We do have these type of things that exist. So, but when we talk about us, we have to know who we are. We are man. And we're not talking about just males. We're talking about the mind. We are the mind formed in flesh. Man means the mind. So let's continue reading off that statement he made right there. Verse 6. He said, now man himself is mind, and mind is here to gain perfection by experience. And mind is often manifest in fleshly form, and in the form best suited to its growth. So mind may manifest as worm, or bird, or beast, or man. Verse 7. The time will come when everything of life will be evolved into the state of perfect man. And after man is man in perfectness, he will evolve to higher forms of life. Verse 9. And Jesus said, Barada Arubu, who told you this? That man, that mind, which is man, may manifest in flesh or beast or bird or creeping thing. So now, after the brother made the statement, now Jesus coming in and asking him, okay, who told you this? Now watch how he say this. He breaks this down. Like, who told you this? Verse 10. The writer said, from time, which man remembers not, our priests have told us so, and so we know. So this is the answer he gives Jesus. He say, so since we can't remember from the beginning of time, we have no remembrance of this. He say, we have to rely on the priests. So we know. So he said he actually knows because the priest told him. So verse 11, and here goes Jesus' response. And Jesus said, enlighten Arubu, are you a mastermind and do not know that man knows not by being told? 12, verse 12, man may, man might believe, not part self, let me read that one. Verse 12, man may believe what others say, but thus he never knows. If man would know, he must himself be what he knows. Now this Jesus responds. Now he's saying, you claim to be a mastermind, yet you going off what some priest told you. Man knows not that being told. So what is not is falsehood. So man knows not that being told is what he told him. Right? He says, let's continue. Verse 13. He says, do you remember a ruble when you were 8 or bird or worm? 14. Now, if you have not better proven of your plea than that the priests have told you so, you do not know. You simply guess. You simply guess. Islam. Because just because somebody told you something don't mean you actually know it. And that's the problem with our people, that we feel we know things because somebody told you. If you have no remembrance of this, you can't prove it other than saying, well, somebody over here told me. But what proof do you have? Where's your source? See what I'm saying? Because, see, science is never guess. We never guess. Now, we might have a hypothesis. We might have a educated form of kind of trying to predict it. Like, okay, based on 1 + 1, it should equals 2, right? But that's still some form of basis, like of information you basing that on before you put it to the actual test of reality. And then when you put it to that test of reality, you automatically see that it's either gonna hold up or it's not, because see, the truth changes not. The truth never changes. So if it was a truth 1,000, a million years ago, it's the truth today in 2023. 2023. If we can't prove people involved with monkeys and things, you don't see these things happening right now, then it didn't happen 2,000 years ago neither. There's a lot of theories like that going around. Islam, like you will hear the women saying, well, women can have babies by themselves. Who told you this? Because in 2023, prove that. Prove it. Only way a woman can have a baby by herself is she go get an injection. So that's the same for back down 2,000 years ago. Islam, we haven't evolved from any of these type of things. Islam. Michael Gills, Islam Morris, thank you for making me. Please, the Telegram rules, please have the cameras on. Islam. So I'm going to continue reading. Now, Jesus giving this brother some correction. But first, he had to challenge his source of information. And then he had to correct him, say, bro, according to scholarship, a man that's a mastermind never goes by guessing. He say, bro, you just guessing based off what somebody told you. You haven't went and proved these things. You haven't put it to science. See, this is the more science. So I'm going to continue reading. 15. Verse 15. Also, Michael Gills, we on chapter 11, Jesus and Barabbas. Together they read the sacred books. Verse 15. So that's chapter 11, verse 15. Oh, so verse 15. So Jesus is going to correct his brother because he had it wrong. We thinking we evolved from the ape and birds and the monkeys and things like that. So the brother, man, Jesus had to correct him. He said, regard not then what any man has said. He said, regard not what any man has said. Let us not forget the flesh and go with the mind into the land of fleshless things. Mind never does forget. So he says, regard not what any man has said. Let us think for a second what he's trying to say to the brother. Okay, now you was going off what you told, right? Some priest told you that we came from protoplasm. So let's think about this. It was he's saying, because the mind, see, the thing about this mind, it's a finite mind, but it can tap into some infinite wisdom. It can tap into the infinite because we are part of Allah. So this is what he's breaking down to the brother. Verse 16. And backward through the ages, masterminds can trace themselves, and thus they know. So he breaking it down to the brother. He say, okay, masterminds, when you master your mind, you can trace yourself back. So how do we trace ourselves back? There's a couple ways we do that. We do that through just astrology. Islam, you can trace yourself back. You can trace yourself back previous lifehood, not livelihoods, but lifelines that you had before this. Just through astrology, just through the study of the Elohim, once you truly can master the mind. And we're going to talk about that too today, because I want to start getting into a little bit of astrology studies with y'all. It's a couple of apps that I want y'all to download. I'm going to share app store. I mean, not in the app store, but in the group chat. And we're going to start to trace ourselves back, right? So let's go into verse 17. Now, Jesus is going to break it down to the brother. Now, he got him thinking, got his mind open. He says, time never was when man was not. Because remember, Barada started off, he said time was when man was not. So he said the opposite. Time was when man was not. So Jesus turned it back around and said, no, time never was when man was not. It never was a time that man didn't exist. Barada theory was it was a time that man didn't exist. He was saying that time was before us. Like it was a time that we didn't exist, but time existed. You understand? So this is a lot of people thought. So this is why we need correction. Because if you're operating off the wrong thought, you don't truly know yourself. Islam. So he had to correct this brother. He said, time never was when man was not. See, that's a big statement when we say that time never was when man was not, or time never was. Because man invented time. Time didn't invent man. Verse 18. Jesus is going to break it down. He said, that which begins will have an end. If man was not, the time will come when he will not exist. So Jesus breaking it down to this brother, he say, that which begins have an end. So if you saying that man began at some time, then man will end at some time. So that means that we are not infinite, that we will die, that we not immortal. That means that we have limitation. Because remember what man is. Man is a part of Allah. So you saying Allah didn't exist. You saying Allah at one point in time, Allah came after time. And Allah will end one day. That's not true. So Jesus breaking that down to this brother. 19, he says, from Allah's own record book we read, the triune Allah breathed forth and stood 7 spirits before his face. The Hebrews call these 7 spirits Elohim. 20. And these are they who, in their boundless power, created everything that is or was. 21. These spirits of triune Allah moved on the face of boundless space, and 7 others were, and every other had its form of life. 22. These forms of life were but the thought of Allah, clothed in the substance of their ether planes. Then called these ether planes the planes of protoplasm, of earth, of plant, of beast, of man, of angel, and cherubim. These planes, with all their teeming thoughts of Allah, are never seen by the eyes of man in flesh. They are composed of substance far too fine for fleshly eyes to see. and still they constitute the soul of things. So now Jesus is breaking it down. Let me finish this last line, 25. It says, and with the eyes of soul, all creatures see these ether planes in all the forms of life. So Jesus had to break it down to where we come from, right? Because the brother got us thinking we evolved, and Jesus trying to tell we descended from something. So he goes into letting them know about Allah's record book. We call that the Akashic records. All right, that's the remembrance of every word, deed, act, thought, everything goes into this record of Allah's remembrance until your judgment day. And the reason why I love that theory is because it's science to it, because you cannot escape your own thought. You cannot escape what you've seen with your own eyes. You know what you've done. You know what you thought. You know what you felt. So that's stored in a memory bank. Because if you are the thought of Allah, just like you can tap into him, he can tap into you. Islam, because this Allah we talk about is infinite wisdom. It knows all. It can pierce the secrets of your heart. So he breaks that down first and foremost about Allah's remembrance, right? Then he talked about the triune Allah, the Trinity of Allah. What is the triune Allah? Wisdom, will, and love. Wisdom, will, and love. It's the triune. See, Allah is one, but Allah is a Trinity. Allah is not just what we see. That's why we say Allah is incomprehensible. Because we can drive around what Allah is all day, and it would leave you in a confused state of mind, because Allah is infinite. You understand what I'm saying? He's everything that is, ever was, and more to be. So we talking about the triune Allah, wisdom, will, and love. Breathed forth and stood 7 spirits before his face. So Allah, the spirit, right? We know the spirit is breath. So when Allah breathes, he creates. Just like when you breathe, you create. But when Allah breathed, he breathed the Elohim. He created the Elohim, right? Which back in the Hebrew language, when we were speaking Hebrew or Hebraic, right? Because the real language is Hebraic, which is developed here in America by the Phoenicians, right? And all over the world, one of our original languages. We just call that the Elohim. So when we say the Elohim and things like that, we're not talking about nothing modern. The more science ain't nothing modern. We can trace this back to old languages, right? So he breaks down what the Elohim actually is. He went into elaboration on that. And he said, these are who in boundless power created everything that is and was. See, Allah made us, but the Elohim created, right? He created things that we see with the eyes. And he said these forms of life were but the thought of Allah, clothed in the substance of their ether planes. So the Elohim, he's saying, created these things on the ether plane. That's on the plane of things unseen. So in an unseen world, these things took his creation. See, the brother Barada said the opposite. He said we took our creation in the same world, like we evolved from things we can see with our eyes, like a worm, protoplasm. You see what I'm saying? A plant. He's saying we evolved from something that we seen. Jesus breaking it down, the fact that no, we came from things that you cannot see. We come from an unseen world that was created by Allah through the holy breath. You see what I'm saying? So he breaking this down to the brother. Now he say, these is how you got your plant, your beast, your protoplasm, and your plant, right? And man. Then N is how you got your angel and cherubim. So notice in verse 23, he names 7 things. He names what? Protoplasm, earth, plant, beast, man, angel, and cherubim. See, this is why you throw up your circle 7. This is the meaning of your circle 7 in that verse 23. Because we are descendants and we descended. We come from our line. We didn't evolve. So five of us fell from heaven. But 2 didn't. The angel and the cherubim didn't fall. They stayed in the heavens, or what we call the unseen world. So that's how we are even connected. See, the 7 means our connection to the unseen world. As above, so below. So we have not the heavens in that sky, physically you see, but the heavens up in the mind, which you cannot see. We have a connection to that. Now, Jesus breaking that down to him, like, you have to understand everything has its own plane on their ether plane. They traveling on their own ether plane. All right. I'm going to continue reading. So 26 says, because all forms of life of every plane are thoughts of Allah, all creatures think, and every creature is possessed of will, and in its measures has the power to choose. Verse 27, and in their native planes, all creatures are supplied with nourishment from the ethers of their planes. And so it was with every living thing until the will became a sluggish will. And then the ethers of the protoplast, the earth, the plant, the beast, the man, began to vibrate very slow. 29. The ethers became more dense, and all the creatures of these planes were clothed with a coarser garbs of flesh. When man can see, and thus the coarser manifest, which man called physical, appeared. So he breaking this down, like in real science to this brother, like he formed in an unformed world, but by the will, the sluggish will of us. We slowed down the ether planes. Man, this little bug must be. We slowed down the ether planes. And this when we get what we call the physical flesh of physical bodies, right? He's breaking down the science to this brother of how we are nothing but things moving, but we moving slow. We vibrating slow because all things are on a certain vibration. People call it the vibes. Oh, you got the vibes. No, vibes are certain for vibrations, frequencies. So everything is on a different frequency. See, a dog is not on the same frequency as man. You feel me? Even though he has Allah in that dog, he has the power to think and choose, right? But he's not on the same frequency because he's bound by his ether plane. He has his animal instincts, and we have animal instincts as well, but we have the will of Allah in us to overcome the flesh, I should say, right? That's the whole point of us choosing mind over matter, because we can overcome the flesh. This is something that can be overcame. Islam. Continue reading. Verse 30. And this is what is called the fall of man. But man fell not alone, for protoplasts of earth, plant, beast were all included in the fall. So he letting you know we are descendants of Allah through the Elohim. We are not, we haven't ascended from these plants, beasts, and earth. We haven't ascended from that. We descended from something higher than us. Right? That's what it means in our Constitution. It says, Act 6, the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites. Think about that, right? So verse 31, the angels and the cherubim fell not. Their will were never strong. And so they held the ethers of their planes in harmony with Allah. So that goes back to explain to you what I was saying. Like the five fell, but two didn't. Because they didn't have the strong will that we have to slow down the vibration. To slow down. That's why you have to sit still for your meetings and things like that, because you have the power to slow yourself down. You can slow down your heart rate. You can slow down your breathing, right? You have this will that even though the cherubim and the angels in the heavens have a will, their will is not as strong as ours. You got to understand that you have the strongest will in you. Nothing is more powerful than you but Allah. Allah is the most powerful thing. Nothing else that trumps man. Man is on the top of the food chain. And that's what Brother Man Jesus is going to break down to you. Verse 32. Now when the ether reached the rate of atmosphere, and all the creatures of these planes must get their food from atmosphere, the conflict came. And then that which the finite man called survival of the best became a law. So you might hear some call that survival of the beasts, right? But we're not beasts. This is survival of the best. And when you think about it, that's how it is. That's the law here. So I hear some people say, well, there's not no competition, things like that. Yes, it is. You're competing all the time. We in competition. It's survival of the best. That's the law. Not with each other. Not as in a nation, right? Because we have unity. But you got to understand, you're the top of the food chain. You're the top of the food chain. So you eat the plants, you eat the beasts, you eat these things, right? These things don't eat you. Right? That's competition I'm speaking of. You're competing with the other planes of life. Man is not to compete with each other, but the other planes of life you are in competition with. That's the law here. It's survival. And it's not about trying to be better. It's about survival. Because you have to eat from the atmosphere. How else are we going to survive? Right? Verse 33. The stronger ate the bodies of the weaker manifest. And here is where the carnal evolution had its rise. So now Jesus, man, breaking it down. This is how evolution actually happened. So now he broke down how we descended, but now let's talk about the theory of evolution. How did the evolution really come? Evolution came from the stronger bodies eating the weaker manifests. So we, top of the food train, we are the strongest manifest. We are the strongest thing that came from the Elohim. We the strongest thing that manifested in the physical. This is the kernel of evolution. You might hear the theory of evolution. So this trumps what's the brother name? Charles Darwin's theory, right? The theory of evolution. He said we evolved from a monkey. And we can see that's not true. Islam. Michael Lewis ill. We can't see your face neither, Mo. Bring the camera down, Islam. I'm going to continue reading. 34. And now man, in his utter shamelessness, strikes down and eats the beast. The beast consumed the plant. The plant thrives on the earth. The earth absorbs the protoplasm. So now he broke down what I was explaining to you, food chain. He broke down to you what evolution really is about. Evolution is a descendant thing. It's the strong eating the weaker. It's survival of the best. So this with man, since man is the strongest, he strike down the beast because the beast is the strongest out of all the other manifests. The beast eat what? The plants. The plants thrive on the what? The earth, the soil, right? The earth absorbs the protoplasm. So you see like everything eating off something. But yet Allah provides these for us to eat. Allah provides us, you see what I'm saying? Allah created all these things. So everybody, like a bird, if you witness a bird finds food every day. Right? Because Allah is going to provide a way for everything to be able to survive here. So I'm going to continue reading. Verse 35. And young the kingdom of the soul, this carnal evolution is not known. And the great work of masterminds is to restore the heritage of man, to bring him back to his estate that he had lost, when he again would live upon the ethers of his native plane. 36. The thoughts of Allah change not. The manifest of life on every plane unfolds into perfection of their kind. And as the thought of Allah can never die, there is no death. Pardon self, there is not death to any being of the seven ethers, of the seven spirits of the triune Allah. So he breaks that down. You know, even though, the brother had a different understanding. He said the thoughts of Allah changes not. So man is the thought of Allah, is we not? So man doesn't change his form. So he breaking it down, have all the manifests of life, they unfold into the perfection of their kind. So it's only so high everything can vibrate if they not on their ether plane. So since we on the highest ether plane, we go back to the highest plane of life. See, this breaks down why the Quran says the prophet came to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life. So now we see what he's saying, right? How we redeem ourselves back to the highest plane of life. Because we are on the highest ether of all these animals, beasts, and these other things that fell with us, descended with us. We are on the highest plane of life. So we're going to return when we unfold back to the highest plane of life, back to perfection. And so we here to reach perfectionist because you're going to have to do this life over and over and over till you get it right. See, our problem is we think that this is our first and last time being here. And it depends on, you're going to return here, but you're going to return here either in a heaven state of mind, or a hell state of mind. Because you're going to have to get yourself back to perfection. So the Quran says that, Noble Ali said that when it's all said and done, he bringing us back to the earth, because earth is our heaven. This is our manifest. Right? So we was on 37, verse 37. And so an earth is never a plant, a beast or bird, a creeping thing is never man. And man is not and cannot be a beast or bird or creeping thing. So he's saying, don't confuse these things, right? The earth is not the plant. The beast is not the beast or a bird. And creeping things is never can be a man. Verse 38, the time will come when all manifests will be absorbed, and man and beast and plant and earth and protoplasm will be redeemed. 39, Barada was amazed. The wisdom of the Jewish sage was revelation unto him. Verse 40, Now, the Yapati, wisest of the Indian sages, chief of the temple of Kapavistu, heard Bharata speak to Jesus of the origin of man, and heard the answer of the Hebrew prophet. And he said, "You priests of Kapavistu, hear me speak. We stand today upon a crest of time. 6 time ago, a master soul was born who gave a glorious light to man. And now a master sage stands in the temple of Kapavistu." So this is something you got to understand what he's saying right here, okay? We stand upon the crest of time. So you know the crest is like the moon when you see a crest, right? So a crest represents a quarter, right? So a quarter is like, when you break it down in basketball, it's a period of time, right? You have 4 quarters. They brought the 4 quarters off what? The moon. They actually made this off the mathematics of the moon. So the moon had 4 quarters, so they made the game in 4 quarters, right? So the brother who heard, the wise Indian sage heard them, the chief of the temple, because they was around the temple. So the chief of the temple heard. He say, man, this man right here is an Adap. That's what he's saying. He's an Adap. He said 6 time ago a master soul was born. So that's what Adap's like. When you become Adap, right? You are a mastermind. You are now here to master your mind, right? Because you going into the chambers of the mind. So Jesus taught the brother how to go into the chambers of his mind. And the brother heard, the chief of the temple heard this. He was like, man, this is a wise brother who can make a person think. And he can make sense. And he has this wisdom of how we descended from something. And this brother was, you see what I'm saying? So this the same priest that was just telling the brother the opposite, though. He told Bharata the opposite. And then when he heard Jesus say it, he like, man, you know what? That makes all the sense in the world, brother. You got to be a master. You a master soul, what you call the brother. He said a master soul was born who gave a glorious light to man. And now that master stage, he's like, now this master soul is right before us in the flesh. A lot of people don't understand the power of these prophets in this Adaps, that these are master souls who manifested in the flesh to give light to man. Because man is in darkness, right? When you wake up out your dream, you don't remember things. So you have to have guidance to get you back to your adaptation so you can be a master soul, right? 42. The Hebrew prophet is the rising star of wisdom. The 5. He brings to us a knowledge of the secret things of Allah, and all the world will hear his words and glorify his name. 43. You priests of temple Kapavistu say, he still and listen. Part 7. 43. You priests of temple Kapavistu say, be still and listen when he speaks. He is the living oracle of Allah. So that's why even in meetings I always require us to be still. Because how can we hear the oracles of Allah? How can we hear this wisdom, right? You have to slow down your vibration. That's what it's all about. Your will is the strongest will, even over angels. You have a will that's stronger than a serpent. You have a will that's stronger than these angels. You have a will in your life to slow down things. Because when you slow down things, things manifest. But while you're trying to do things so fast, you're going to make mistakes, right? So when you slow yourself down, you notice you do it correctly, right? So that's what the will, that's one example of the strong will you have. But see, we overlook the fact that we can manifest things by this strong will, but just slowing down the vibrations of ourselves, right? being still and hearing the oracles of Allah. When Allah speaks to us, then we can see, okay, Allah giving us instructions what to do. And once you start acting upon this, now you acting upon the oracles of Allah, which is within you, because you are a thought of Allah. I'm going to finish this chapter. It says, 44, and all the priests gave thanks and praised the Buddha of enlightenment. The Buddha of enlightenment, Islam. Let's go back to chapter 1, because this chapter 11, you notice it's chapter 11, so it's 1-1. So you want to get into numerology on that, what the 1-1 is, right? That's a double number, but chapter 1, this is the extension of that. So let's go back into chapter 1. So now we can understand chapter 1, since 11 is the elaboration on chapter 1. Now you can understand the creation and fall of man. The creation and fall of man. So 11 broke it down how you fell first, and then you was created in flesh. So first, Allah breathed forth 7 spirits called the Elohim. And when he breathed forth the Elohim, we came on our planes of ether planes, right? We came on 5 planes of light. Right? You might hear people say, oh, it's 5 dimensions. Yeah, we in the 5th dimension because we are man. But we come to the 3rd dimension, which is earth. That's the physical. But we are on the highest plane of life, right? We come from the highest ether. So we the 5. That's what the 5-point star represent. Allah in flesh, arm, leg, arm, flesh. You are the only one that's Allah in flesh, because you are man. That's the definition of man. Man means Allah in flesh. It don't mean a male, don't mean female. It means Allah in flesh is man, which is the mind. And that's what Jesus broke down. So you have to understand the creation and the fall of the mind. Islam. So let's read this. Time never was when man was not. Now notice this is the only chapter that has no verses. So I'm going to read it straight through. Time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject to change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when there were not. The bodies and the souls of man are finite things, and they will change. Yea, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Creative faith gave to man, to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative faith give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative faith give to soul a body of flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? Right? So this chapter is breaking it down to you, what you come from, how you are not the body nor the soul. Right? So it has already been elaborated in chapter 11, but now it's a question posed to you. This Quran asks you a question. The questions that it asks you is that, why did creative faith give the spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? That's the first question. The next question is, why did creative faith give soul the body that he might function on the plane of things made manifest? That's 2 questions. So now it's going to answer those questions. Hear now, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. So he talked to the highest plane of life first. Then he goes down to the other plane of life. Hear now, O protoplasm, and earth, and the plant and beast. Then he goes down to another. He said, hear now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of the fire, of water, earth, and air. Most people call that the spirits of the fire, earth, and water, air. That's the Elohim, right? So that's what I mean by getting into the astrology, because we all have those 4 elements in us, and that's how you can trace yourself back to the unseen world. This is what I mean by being a mastermind, tracing ourselves back by the astrology. But we can trace ourselves back to the unseen world. And that's how you can prove you did not descend. See, your zodiac proves something. Why people want to run away from it, it proves that you didn't come from no monkey. That proves it. Because you are given a zodiac. You are given what we call a zodiac. You are given a energy, a spirit in you, right? That forms you. It forms your everyday activity. It forms the way you think. You got 12 houses, the 12 stop ladder Jacob. It forms the way you think about money, your attention span, the way you learn, the way you project information. This what the 12 stop ladder is about. I'm going to continue reading. Hear now of everything that is or was or evermore to be. For wisdom speaks from out the highest plane of spirit life. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for the things that are concerned with time begin and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting of the past into the never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah. Just as the seed of every plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that a special plant. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. Now seeds are perfect, yea, as perfect as the source from which they come, but they are not unfolded until life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul, and on the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul. And he became the Lord of all the kingdom of soul. So he, in that paragraph, he breaking down that you are this little mustard seed that was planted inside the soul by Allah. You was already ordained to be Emmanuel. That means you was the king of the plane of soul. You are the Emmanuel on the soul plane, right? So you was already ordained to be the Lord. That means when Allah put that seed out there to create you, he made you the Lord. He made you up here. He didn't make us, because we know we got 5 levels, 5 dimensions. But he didn't put us on the last dimension. He put us on the 5th dimension, the highest plane. Continue reading. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane vibrate not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and the all of love manifest. And these soul attributes became a body beautiful, a multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarry many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still, and then the essences took on a final garb. The perfumes and odors and the true sensations and the all of love were clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, and so a carnal was full manifest, a nature that sprang from fleshly things. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifests, of protoplasm, of mineral, of plant, of beasts. But he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage. But he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yea, he must suffer trials and temptations manifold. But let him know that Seraphim in the Seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the solar stars are his protectors and his God, and they will lead to victory. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffers on the plane of soul. Pardon self, on the plane of flesh, and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served his purpose. Pardon self, you said it again. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served his purpose well, and it will fall, will be no more. Islam, so this whole paragraph is giving you your heritage, Mo. Like our heritage is not just our bloodline in a physical form. Because then you would just be limiting yourself to saying you're just a human. No, your heritage is aligning you back to what? Your creator, your maker. This is your heritage, but it tells you in this chapter why you even here, how you even got here. Because see, your will, your sluggish will was so strong that you want to gratify your Lord self, right? Because man was made in the higher self and lower self. So we want to gratify these things. We want to prove to ourselves how strong we really were. We want to give ourselves a good challenge. So we want to, you see what I'm saying? We came to this earth to give ourselves this challenge. We descended from heaven so we can regain and show ourselves approved. Back to perfectionists, because we was perfect. We was already perfect. So we made ourselves imperfect to prove how perfect we actually can become again. This is the theory of evolution. See, this is the ascension. So we didn't ascend from the monkey, we descended from Allah just to make ourselves ascend back up. So when anybody think they don't have to learn or they perfect or they know it all, that's what it's telling you. You won't have to come back again, because it says a multitude of lessons man must learn upon his plane of soul. And here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Not just some of your lessons. Just because you learn some set lessons in your life don't mean you don't have more lessons to go. Because if you didn't have more lessons to go, you wouldn't even need this flesh. This flesh is needed for lessons. Why? Because of the temptations of the flesh, the tribulations you're going to have to face, the suffering you're going to have to go through. So when you see Grand Sheik suffering or going through something, that's because I'm learning my lessons. I'm going towards perfectness. When you're going through something, don't look at it like you going through it for no reason. No, you are going through that hard lesson because you haven't learned it in your past life. So these lessons are going to keep on coming and recurring themselves. You ever met the same person through different people? Because there's a lesson in it. See, this more science is about accountability. This is about accountability. This is about knowing that you have the will to change and the choice to learn your lesson and to reach back to perfect the state of mind. I'm going to continue reading. So once you learn your lesson on this flesh, it's not over though. So that's reading. That's when we talk. Now let's talk about the afterlife. Because everybody got this theory on afterlife, but that's the Quran. That's what the Quran says on afterlife. So when you lose those flesh, we'll continue reading. It says, then he will stand untrampled on the plane of soul where he must full complete his victories. Unnumbered foes will stand before man on the plane of soul. These he must overcome, yea, he must overcome them every one. Thus, hope will ever be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on and victory is sure. So this tells you what the afterlife is for you. And that one holy breath, that short paragraph tells you that once you lose your flesh, you have another test to face where you're going to be tested again. And then on this plane, you cannot escape. You're going to have to overcome everyone. See, on this plane of flesh, you can dance around. You can run from your lessons on here. But when you die, when the flesh dies, you can't hide from the lessons you're going to have to face. See, on this plane, you have to learn health. You have to learn to have a healthy mind, healthy body. On the next plane of soul, you're going to have to learn honesty. See, here you're here to be healthy. The next soul, you're going to have to be honest. So the Quran says this: honesty to the soul is health to the body. So you can only lie to yourself. And you can escape that lie while you're here. Yeah, you can lie to Grand Sheik. You can. I'm not going to really believe it because on the plane of soul is honesty. And I can see through it to your soul. That's why a lie never sticks, because a person can see your soul, Mo, right? So we have to understand, if we're not honest to ourselves on this plane to overcome these battles and trials and tribulations that we know we're being weak for, then you're going to come back and have that same battle again. Might be worse next time. So this is what the afterlife is truly about. So let's go into, I'm going to finish this chapter. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe on the plane of soul, the seed will have full open out, will have unfolded in the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore. And it will pass and be no more. And man will then attain unto the blessedness and perfectedness and at one with Allah. So you cannot even get perfect on this plane of flesh we in. On this plane of flesh, nobody can ever be perfect. Everybody's imperfect. Everybody has a lesson to learn. Everybody has to learn daily. See, the first school is the womb, but it's the womb from the tomb. You never stop learning. So once you do conquer the flesh, and then you go into the soul, and you conquer every foe on that, then you have fully unfolded into the perfectness and blessedness of and become back one with Allah. See, from Allah we come, from Allah we shall return to Allah. And it's breaking it down, that last paragraph. So don't think, okay, just because you go on this plane of soul that you're going to fail and die on the plane of soul because the soul died. Yeah, because the soul is going to die. But you got to understand, you are man, clothed in soul and clothed in flesh. So you are not going to die, even though that soul is going to die. The flesh is going to die, but man cannot die. Man is only just going to return back to Allah. So it's nothing to be scared of. You immortal. Just because you learning these lessons, don't be scared of them. Don't be scared of the afterlife. Because you're going to heaven. You're going to Allah. You're going to perfectness. You're going to something great. But you can't get there. You're not going to let you in until you learn every lesson. See, on the plane of flesh, we have these lessons. But on the plane of soul, in the soul mind, we have foes. We have enemies in your mind. See, your own thoughts are your own enemies. And they manifest into lessons of your life. See, these lessons are the manifest of your thought. So we creators of our heaven and hell and earth. So the bad things that's happening or the disappointments you have in life It's just based on your own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So the purifying of to baptize yourself, John the Baptist came and showed us how to purify our thoughts. So we can have a purity. That's what the baptism is. It means the cleansing of your soul, which is the thoughts. The thinking, reasoning, willing is the actions of the soul. Islam. So that's the lesson of knowing who we are. The creation and fall of man. Knowing what we are, who we are, right? But I want to go one more lesson into chapter 3 as well. Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. Because now that we understand why we throw up our circle 7 to represent we descendants of Allah, manifest in flesh, now let's talk about what man actually is, right? Because we talked about our descendant, but we fully know ourselves. We have to know what man is, because we have to know what we are, right? So I'm going to go into this. Verse 1, again, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, no man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by course to every other living thing. So this is evident because you don't live unto yourself. We all are affected by each other. You came through a cord. You came connected to man. You came connected to your mother's umbilical cord. That's evidence that you did not evolve from no monkey. Because we are connected by umbilical cords. What other animals of plants or anything are connected together? By umbilical cords or cords on the soul plane at any time. So what happened in the flesh happens on the soul plane. So it just manifested itself in flesh. So you're connected by cords. So we all are connected to each other because the all in all means the all is one. Allah is one. We all are just one. So that's why it's important for us to have government structure, and these type of things to uplift fallen humanity, because when you uplift and follow humanity, you uplifting yourself. Because what happens, what others do, affect you in an indirect way. It might not directly affect you, but it indirectly affects you. Right? Verse 3, blessed are pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. So once you learn that you connected to everything, now here comes the baptism. Purify your heart. Purify the thoughts. Show love, because love is Allah. Allah is love. And don't demand it back in return. So that means like, just show love. Don't worry about getting it back and don't demand it back in return. Just show the love. That's pure love. That's purity of love. Verse 4. They would not do unto other men what they would not have other men do unto them. So that's the golden rule that's the golden law. Don't do nothing you don't want nobody to do to you. Now let's talk about what man is. Now we have an understanding. Verse 5 breaks down what man actually is. There are two selves, the higher and lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. So the higher self is man, because man is clothed with the soul, man in the form of Allah. Man is the thought of Allah, not the flesh. So let's go into verse 7. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man and will not pass away. So man itself is the higher self, and the higher self is Allah in man. So it's a full circle. So man is a circle, because a man is Allah in flesh, but yet the higher self is Allah in man. You see how that can be confusing? But it's a circle. Because man is Allah in flesh, but the higher self is Allah in man. I'm going to continue reading. 9. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. So this is what I break down. This is what I mean, that the embodiment of truth is the higher self. So honesty to yourself is the higher self. That's what Allah is, the truth. The devil is the lie. So you a devil worshiper if you do not live in truth. You worshiping the devil. You are now becoming a demon. You're now giving in to the lower self, which is the carnal self, the body of desires. So when you give in to those very desires, right? When we give in to our desires, because I'm not preaching, I'm talking about myself. I'm saying when we give in to these desires, we are worshiping the devil. And we all have the desires because you was given the body, you was given the Lord self, you was given desires. So don't beat yourself up like, man, don't nobody got them. Everybody got their desires, right? And Allah's the only one to judge you. You might see a crackhead out there and try to judge him like you better than him, but you really, truly, in the scheme of things, are not better than him. You're just on a different desire than he is. He's learning his lesson. That's why we can't go out here and save the world. Because how can you save somebody from the lessons they are meant to learn here? You know what I'm saying? That's why the Quran said you can't be a hero for the people because they learning their lessons. All you doing is aiding their weakness. You making them weak, and we here to be strength. We here to become strong. So these trials and tribulations and suffering they doing is what makes you stronger. So don't try to save nobody going through their trials and tribulations. Let them go through it. And praise Allah for putting them through that, putting you through your trials and tribulations. Praise Allah for that, because He's making you stronger. If He didn't care about you, He wouldn't put you through that. He would just let you be weak, let you be a victim to your own desire. Islam? Let's go into verse 10. Now let's talk about what the higher self. Now we understand that we are the higher self, man. Let's talk about what is the higher self. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. So this is how you square yourself up by this fold. Justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So the lower self is hundreds and hundreds of things that is not these four things: justice, mercy, love, and right. Justice is being fair. Mercy is like showing a forgiveness. Love, purity of love. Right is the manifest of truth, doing things the right way, the right path, right? This is the higher self, doing things the right way. The lower self is doing things the wrong way. The lower self is hate. The lower self is not mercy. The lower self is not justice, being fair. These are the lower self. So let's talk about the lower self, verse 11. The lower self breeds now. Since the lower self is all these things, the lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything's that harm. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasures, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. So the lower self makes you all these promises. The devil is the lower self. The devil make promises. It has whispers, a whisper in your ear, all these great things, but you notice it never fulfilled the promises. Like I can give you an example of myself. The devil tell me, man, don't sell them ounces of cocaine, right? Don't put that poison to the people, right? You're gonna get rich. You're going to make it, boy. You're going to make the millions. But it never fulfilled that promise, did it? That was a thought I had. It wasn't fulfilled. How many times have you seen drug dealers fail? Chapo just got sentenced the other day, didn't he? He got sentenced to his time. He's been convicted, but he got sentenced to his time. Because there's 2 stages to your trial. First, you get convicted, and then you come back for a sentencing. So they just gave him, like so many life terms now. So that shows you El Chapo was one of the best drug dealers. The best drug dealers we probably ever seen, except to Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar and your boy El Chapo. Come on, man. That's like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, a drug game or something. You never gonna see nobody better than those 2 brothers. Those are the 2 best drug dealers that did it the biggest and the best of all time. This is the thought I had to come to when I came out the penitentiary. My brother was like my El Chapo. My brother just got out of jail this year from doing 15 years. When I went down, I had to take that thought in like, man, nobody, even the best of drug dealers, failed because that Laura cell, that promise that was made was never fulfilled. It's never going to be fulfilled. Because the truth changes not. See, I lost the truth. So if it was the truth, if you was truly meant to do that, then it would fulfill itself. You would never got caught. I had to tell myself this, more, you're not a good drug dealer because you got caught. What type of good drug dealers get caught? Think about it. Think about it. El Chapo, Pablo Escobar, they never got caught selling drugs. They just had to come take them off the street because they couldn't catch him. They couldn't catch Pablo Escobar. He was flawless. Even if they call his runners and things, they couldn't link it to him because he was in a jurisdiction of his own. That boy El Chapo built his own city, had his own city as you know what I'm saying? He had his own jail. When they tried to lock up Pablo Escobar, he built his own jail and said, only way I'm going to agree to going to jail if I go to my own jail. Now tell me any drug dealer got that type of clout. You're going to have to go to their jail. That man said, I'm going to go to my own jail. And then they just say, okay, we're just going to kill you. You get what I'm saying? So the devil, that promise will never be fulfilled, more. You chasing after a desire, a loose illusion. You chasing after something that's never going to manifest itself. You will fail. Trust me, I done seen it myself. I'm like I say, my brother is 47 years old? So this was my role model growing up. And he failed. Everybody I know to fail. I never witnessed anybody that passed successfully their whole life. Now, I've seen some old men get there like 60, 70, but then they get 70 years old and get locked up. You know? And you don't feel it like this. What I know from being in penitentiary, the older you get, the harder it is to go to the penitentiary. The older you get makes it harder. When you're young, in your chicken young years, it's a little easier because you can bounce back out, come back, and still young. But man, when you get old, you got to think about it. You need help. Your health declining. You're not going to get good health coverage and health benefits in there. They don't care about you in there. You know how many old men die in there that you never hear of? Man, you know how many brothers I've seen die in jail from health problems that stem from neglect? They just neglected these brothers in there. You're going to die in jail, going to jail like the old man. Because your family can't do nothing for you inside jail. You under the mercy of the warden then. And guess what? The warden, you would never even see that warden. He'll never come shake your hand and say, yeah, I'm the warden. I'm running this jail. How, is anything you like to change or, you know what I'm saying, anything where I can accommodate you here? You know, we have a suggestion box. You want to put some in the suggestions? You don't have these things in jail, more. So the older you get, the worse it's going to be for you. So you just prolonging yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is my own testimony where I had to give myself more because I was convicted felon. So, I haven't touched no cocaine, some of cocaine in over 13 years for me. 13 years, man. All right. So I'm gonna continue reading. 13, verse 13 is where we at. It gives man, and I'm talking about the Lord self. It gives man apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. 14. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves. And you well have studied them. And then would ask me what to study next, I will reply yourselves. So this is your instruction to know yourself. So you have to study this Lord self you have. You have to study yourself. He didn't say study your high self or study the Lord self. He said study yourself. So once you know man is two selves, but man is actually the higher self. And the lower self is the reflection of this higher self that's attached to this lower self. Now you got to study this because you attached to this. This was born with you, Mo. You was born with this. You wasn't made with this, but once you went through the ether plane and came into the flesh and came born, you was born with this devil in you, Mo. So you got to study him. Once you study the higher self, it's easy to study the good part of us, right? It's easy to study the justice, mercy, love, and right. Like, yeah, I did right. I know I can do right. I know I can love pure. I can pure love. You know what I'm saying? I know I got justice. I got mercy in me. Yeah, I'm a higher self. Yeah, I'm a good brother. The prophet said, no, go back and study yourself again. Because that's a polished coat you putting on. You're not confessing your sins right now. And now you're going to be looking down on others. No, go back and study that lower self now. Go back and learn him. That because it's easy when we get in this moral science, we throw away that lower self, right? Like me, I can easily more throw away my lower self. Like, okay, I felt like I defeated my lower self. It's gone. But then I go through a test, and then the lower self come back and show itself again. And I say, man, I thought I beat him up. I thought I crushed that beast. No, that beast still alive, Mara, because you here in the flesh. You have not reached perfectionist. You're still imperfect. So go back and study yourself again, please, so you can know yourself. Islam, I'm going to continue reading. 15 said, he who knows well his Lord self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that will pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah, know well the things that cannot pass away. So once you get to know yourself, then guess what? Can't nobody trick you because now you know the illusions of the world. Because you know that Lord self. So you know the Lord self and all the other people. Yeah, you making me these promises and things, bro, but I got to see these things manifest, Mo. You ain't finna run that game by me because I know my Lord self. And I know you got one. You ain't finna sit here and tell me you just all honest. You ain't gonna sit here and tell me you never lie. You ain't gonna sit here and tell me that you don't make no mistakes, Mo. So I need to see these steps by steps being broken down, Mo. Because I'm not going by, because what we read in Elijah chapter 11, man knows not by being told. Man knows not by being told, more. You think that man is a perfect teacher? More, I can break down and show you imperfections of what he's teaching you. Because the man got to beat what he knows. So he has to show you evidence of this. Don't show me the teaching, show me the evidence of it working. Because man must be what he knows. That means you must manifest this. Ain't no talking about it, you must walk it. If I say I can beat a case, it should be beaten. If I say I can handle this, it should be handled. I should have evidence of this. Some cases should be dismissed. I should have some testimonies or something. If I say that's what I know, I have to be what I know. Islam? Let's continue reading. 16, verse 16, where we left off. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the pearls of the Lord self is himself, his higher self. So thrice blessed, the triune Allah, Islam. Once you have fought that Lord self, them pearls, because them pearls of the Lord self they ransom you. See what I'm saying? Like you've been kidnapped, you've been abducted. And once you escape that ransom, you escape that deduction. Kidnapping. You know what I'm saying? When you escape that, you will be blessed. That's what it's saying. You will be blessed times 3, thrice blessed. Man, you got blessings on the other side to overcome that lower self. So I don't think it's no reward. Like why I want to, gratify my lower self is good. Why I want to stop drinking. Why I want to stop smoking weed. It make me feel good. Because it's a blessing behind that, more. Three blessings. What the Quran said, you got a thrice blessing behind that, overcoming that desire. You will be rewarded, but by you giving in to that lower self, you will be punished. There's only 2 things in this world. That's rewards and punishments. That's the only thing, the outcomes you're going to get. It's 2 types of outcomes, rewards and punishments. Ain't no in between. It's either truth or falsehood. And falsehood is things that will not last. It will not change. It would change for some time. The truth would never change. Islam, continue reading. Now, this part I love right here. I had to go over this the other day because people was talking about these praising your ancestors and things like that. And some people believe like in these different deities where you pray to Ogun and you know what I'm saying, to get you back to your salvation, to overcome these things in yourself. And, you will hear these tarot readers say these type of things. Not like tarot, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking radical. But what I'm trying to say is that we have to understand what we're saying when we saying these things, or you're going to be lost in the sauce, hocus pocus, and lose your focus. Islam. So you got to understand that you have this power to overcome your lower self. You have this will in you. It's not made of no other deity, praying or nothing. None of that stuff. Just overcome yourself by the choices you make. Studying yourself. Now let's go into verse 17. Men seek salvation from an evil that deems a living monster of the nether world. And they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice of fruits and the lives of birds and animals and the humankind. Right? So how many times you hear people in that so-called spiritual community say, well, you got to do this ritual, you got to build this altar, and you got to burn a cigar, and you got to do this and that, you know what I'm saying, so you can get this salvation from this deity. You understand me? I hear this all the time. When I talk to spiritual people, I talk to conscious, so-called conscious community, but you're going to see the difference in consciousness, right? I'm continuing reading verse 19. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, and no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air and clothed with the shadow of a thought. So that's what I mean. Like, man must be what he knows. These things must be manifested. If we got these deities and these things that can save you and can do all this saving power for you, and they can hear you, then prove it. Because I can prove what Allah do for me. I can show you what Allah does. I can show you how Allah gave me the willpower to change my life. I'm not giving no credit to no Ogun. I'm not giving no credit to no deity, no planet. I'm not giving no credit to the sun, the moon, the stars. No, I'm giving credit to me. Allah in flesh. I did it. I overcame. I battled that. Ain't nobody else came around here and battled that battle for me. Where? When? I had to change my mind. I had to purify my thoughts in my heart. And you're going to have to too. Islam. Verse 21 says this. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, the Lord's self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. Islam. So that's about accountability on this right here. Because see, if you think you can be saved from a deity, some God, then that's not giving yourself no credit. And then if you think some outside force or some devil is in the sky, something that's these energy, hear people saying these energies and things like that. That's, if you believe that these things was truly you need to be redeemed from, then you not taking accountability, because at the end of the day, the only devil is you. His name is self. The only devil. More is not no other devils and no other saviors. No other savior. If you want to find your savior, if you truly want to find him, you must look within. That's the only way to find your savior. That's why we don't believe that Jesus came to save us from anything. Jesus came to redeem us from our sinful ways so we can save ourselves. Prophet Noble Ali said, Morris, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. I'm not taking to save yourself. He ain't said I come to save you. Islam. Verse 23, and we're going to end it with this before going on one-on-ones. Verse 23 say, the David of the life is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks to save the love upon the throne. So now you can go back to the story of the Bible, and now you can understand this metaphor in the Bible of David and Goliath. See, David is the light. See, David's the star Dawood, as above, so below. You connected to the light, the infinite knowledge. And you are David, king. King David is you. And Goliath is the Lord self. And you can defeat this great monster Goliath that's in you, that you think you can't beat, that I got to give in to. No, you're David, king, Lord of the plane of soul, Lord of the plane of manifest. Allah in flesh. You're the higher self, are you not? Islam. So we can trace ourselves back, and then we can go into the Bible and get them same lessons. Islam to that lesson. Amen. So I'm going to go into our one-on-one keys and close out this meeting with that in the speech and open up the floor for any questions after we go into these one-on-one Quran questions. Quran. Everybody have their one-on-ones? We're going to activate the one-on-one questionnaire. I want everybody to unmute yourselves so you can read along with the one-on-ones. Islam. You don't have the one-on-ones, it's in the group chat. Waiting on y'all to unmute yourselves and we'll begin. I'll read the questions and y'all answer it. Okay, I see two of y'all came on mute. Michael Gills and Danny Murray. Michael Lewis, you got your one-on-ones? Okay, let's go into these one-on-ones. Moist America prayer. Allah, the Father, the universe, the Father, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Ali. Amen. Quran questions for more children. I will read the question and you read the answer in harmony. It's an exercise. Go right into the answer. Don't delay. And don't add no words. Don't take no words away. Key 1. Who made you?
Allah.
2. Who is Allah?
Allah is the
Father of the universe.
3. Can we see him?
No.
4. Where is the nearest place we can meet him?
In
our hearts.
5. Who is Noble Drew Ali?
He is Allah's prophet.
6. What is a prophet?
A prophet is a thought of Allah
manifested in flesh.
7. What is the duty of a prophet?
To save nations from the wrath of
Allah.
8. Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Noble Drew Ali.
9. What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
1913
AD.
10. Where?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
11. Where was Noble Drew Ali born?
In the state of North Carolina.
1886.
12. What is his nationality?
Moorish
American.
13. What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
14. Why are we Moorish Americans?
Because we are descendants of Morocco,
born in America.
15. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
For the uplifting
upon humanity.
16. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans?
By teaching them to be
themselves.
17. What is our religion?
Islamism.
18. Is that a new or is that the old time religion?
Old time religion.
19. What kind of a flag is the Moorish?
Is the red flag with
a 5-pointed green star in the center.
20. What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
21. How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
22. Which is our holy day?
Friday.
23. Why?
Because Friday is the day of which man was formed in flesh and was on Friday when he departed out of flesh.
24. Who was Jesus?
The prophet of Allah.
He was the prophet of Allah.
25. Where was he born?
In Bethlehem of Judah, in the house of David.
26. Who were his father and mother?
Joseph and
Mary.
27. Will you give in brief the line and genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came were Abraham, Boaz, Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon,
Ruth,
Ezekiel, and Joseph by Mary.
Solomon, Joseph, and Mary.
28. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth?
To save the Israelites from the iron hand of oppression and of the Palestinian nation of Europe, governing portion of Palestine at the time.
Michael Lewis Hill, I don't hear you, Mo. 29. How long has that been?
About 2,000 years ago.
30. What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was the Moabite.
Moabitist. 31. What is the modern name for the Moabites?
Moroccans.
32. Where is the Moroccan Empire?
Northwest of Maxim.
Northwest of Maxim, not northwest. Northwest of Maxim. 33. There you go. 33. What is the modern name for Maxim?
Africa.
And I just want to make a point. Y'all want to go, I'm going to put in a group chat. The Grand Sheik Tashariq, they made a video about Northwest of Maxim last Friday. You should check out. I'll put it in group chat. Okay. 33. What is the modern name for Maxim?
Africa.
34. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco?
Sultan.
35. Where do we get the name Jesus?
From the east.
36. What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Jesus means justice.
37. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes.
Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves in sin.
38. What is an angel?
An angel is
a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh.
39. What are angels used for?
To carry out
messages to the four corners of the world, to all nations.
40. What is our prophet to us?
He is an angel of Allah who was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah.
Everlasting gospel of Allah.
41. What is the everlasting gospel?
It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers.
By His fathers, by His prophet.
42. What is the covenant of the great God Allah?
Honor thy father and mother,
that their days may be long upon the earth, land which the Lord, thy God Allah, hath given thee.
Which the Lord God Allah hath given thee.
43. At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
At the age of 12.
44. Where did He teach?
India,
Africa, and Europe.
30, main part itself. 46, 45. How long did He teach?
18 years.
18 years.
46. What did Jesus say that would make you free?
Truth.
47. What is truth?
Truth is art.
48. What is art?
Art is Allah.
49. Can truth change?
Truth cannot change
Truth
or pass
cannot
away.
be changed or pass away.
50. What other name do we give to truth?
Holy breath.
Holy breath.
51. What have you say about the holy breath?
All we can say is
it's great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be. Amen.
Evermore to be. Amen.
52. At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden.
In the Garden of Eden.
53. Where is the Garden of Eden?
In the land of Canaan, in the city of Mecca.
54. What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
Mecca.
55. What is the name of the first physical man?
His
name cannot be used only by executive rules of the AC of the Moorish Science of America.
Of the MST of A.
56. What are the words of AC of the MST of A?
ADAP Chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Third Heaven.
57. Who were Adam and Eve?
Their mother and father
of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims.
58. Where did he go?
They went into Asia.
59. What is the modern name given to their children?
Asiatics.
60. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away?
Angels.
61. What is the modern name for those angels?
Asiatics.
62. What is the shade of their skin?
Olive.
63. Are the Moorish Americans in any relation to those angels?
Yes, we are. Yes, we have the same
father and mother.
64. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon,
and beast.
65. What is the devil sometimes called?
The lower self.
66. How many cells are there?
2.
67. Name them.
Higher self,
lower self.
68. What people represent the higher self?
The angels who protect
the holy city of Mecca.
69. What people represent the lower self?
Those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teachings.
70. What is the higher self?
Higher self
is the mother virtues and the harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
And breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
71. Can the higher self pass away?
No.
72. Why?
Because it is Allah
in man.
73. What does the lower self breed?
Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, death, and everything that harms.
Murder, theft, and everything that harms.
74. What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him?
Where are you going,
Where
Satan?
are you going, Satan?
75. What was the answer the lower self gave to the higher self?
I'm going to
and fill the earth, seeking who I may devour.
Who I may devour.
76. Has he finished his task of devouring?
Yes.
Yes.
77. When was his time declared out?
When he nailed Jesus to the cross.
78. What are the last words Jesus uttered?
It is finished.
79. What did he have reference to?
Yeah, reference to the
end of Satan.
80. Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him?
Yes.
81. What is the name of the person to whom Jesus was first reincarnated?
Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror.
82. Was Satan to be bound in?
Satan was bound in part.
83. When was the head of Satan taken off?
1453.
1453. Byzantine.
84. By whom?
By
Muhammad.
85. Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of the Northwest by the European nations in 1774.
Negro, black
color, and Ethiopia.
86. What is meant by the word Negro?
Negro given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contains black waters.
87. What is meant by the word black?
Black, according to science,
means death.
88. What does the word colored mean?
Color means anything that has been painted, stained,
varnished, or dyed.
89. What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopia means something divided.
Ethiopia means something divided.
90. Can a man be a Negro, black, color, Ethiopian?
No.
91. Why?
Because man is made in the image after the likeness of God Allah.
292. What title does Satan give himself?
God.
93. Will you define the word white?
White means purity. Purity means God. And God means the ruler of land.
94. To whom do we refer at times as being the great God?
Allah.
95. Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah?
No, he's the shadow of Allah.
Will pass away.
96. Who made the devil?
Elohim.
97. Who is Elohim?
7 created spirits that created everything that ever was,
be.
What is Elohim sometimes called?
The 7 eyes of Allah.
The 7 eyes of Allah.
How many days are in the circle?
7 days.
7 days.
How many days are in the creation?
7 days.
7 days.
According to science, how many days are in a year?
7 days.
7 days.
Islam. We'll close it out with the questionnaire. The law. Anybody got any questions? I'll open up the floor before we close. Any questions? I yield the floor.
No, I just got a question. Did you send any paperwork? Email or anything?
Yeah, I sent you to you yesterday to Antoine Davis Bay Gmail. I sent it. Yep. The motion to stay.
So I'm trying to figure out to the 1,000 room or to.
Hold on. I'll reply back. I sent it in. No, hold on. Oh, you know what? I didn't send it, Mo. I'm going to send it right now. I didn't send it. I thought I sent it. I didn't send it. I replied back to your email, but I got it.
Okay.
For you. I just didn't see it.
How that junction look?
Oh, that was the same one we got off our Sublime Master. I guess they all using the same one.
Oh,
I had a copy of that.
Yeah, they got it from, oh boy, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, they, you know how they do. Yeah, so yeah, we that's a decent one. Yeah, I think you definitely want to kind of file it as exhibit in your federal court, and then you can get that exemplified off the record, and then you can send that in to the sheriffs. That's how I would do it. You see what I'm saying? I put exemplification on it. That way, a judge sign it, then send it off to the sheriff's departments or whoever you're going to send notice to.
Yeah, see, the common problem with exemplifications out here in Jersey, that shit, that's like a headache.
No, federal court different.
Oh yeah, they do it too. Yeah, they do it.
Mm-hmm. Islam, you think you get the injunction exemplified?
Yeah, that's a procedure ain't nobody doing. But see, you get anything exemplified. See, once you file in your case on the federal level, you can get exemplified off or a certified copy of it. All you gotta do is write the clerk a letter for that. That's easy on the federal level. See, things are a little bit easier on the federal level, as far as contacting the clerk and talking to the clerk and communicating with the clerk is totally different than the state. The state under color of law. Some certain states are more reasonable than others, but on the federal level, it's a little bit different. So yeah, you can even like we can file an injunction here in Texas. You put on a record in Texas getting exemplified. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I was going to do with the passports. When we issue these passports, I was going to make an injunction with it, get it exemplified, the injunction, then issue the passports, and then you can use that, support your passport. So it's the same thing. You get an injunction from not getting pulled over, you know what I'm saying, right to travel, those type of things, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the simplification process of that would make it more strong. For sure.
So if
the court will.
Would you have to so you said get out on the federal level, so you would have to have a case already going on.
Yeah, because Mo got to remove this case to the federal level, so he can file unlimited in there. You know what I'm saying? And you can use that to your advantage because now you're putting it on public record through the federal courts. And that's when you got a federal exemplification, that goes for all states. Even though you got full faith and credit in every state public got, but it hit different when it comes from the federal level. Because now you got the federal judge signing, the federal clerk signing. You know what I'm saying? When I learned the exemplification process, they taught to me on both levels. I just haven't used it on the federal level and I got to open a federal case too. So, you know what I'm saying? I got the child support. I got them in federal court, so I can do the same thing. So once you take somebody to federal court, you see what I'm saying? You can file in any case, just like you could on the state court. You can file anything you want. And then you go back and say, I want a certified copy or I want a simplification copy of that. But the simplification is powerful than the certified because the certified is the clerk signing it. The simplification turns into a court order because you got the judge signing and the clerk signing. So now you got two witnesses on that.
All right, so I'm gonna try to bring this. I guess try to file this in there on Monday. Shit.
Yes. Now what you do is with the motion to state, I'm gonna give you right. You put that as Exhibit A with your motion to state, so they can't deny nowhere to go because they can't deny your exhibits. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Even if it wasn't an exhibit, they still couldn't deny it, but because it's your filing. A clerk can't refuse a filing unless it ain't got no case number on
it. Okay, I'll check everything out when you send it. Try to prepare all this stuff tonight and then probably show you before I make my move tomorrow or Tuesday.
Okay. Let me send it right now. I don't forget it again. On my email, put my email up right now. Computer moving a little slow. Right. Which one you want me to send to? The M. Giles 28?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Okay. That's sent right now. All right. We should go. You want to go through that real fast? You can go through it. I got time. I got time today. See,
just waiting for it to pop up.
All right. Okay. Let me screen share this. All right. So when you get into the rules of federal rules of civil procedure, right? Rule 62 deals with the stay of proceedings to enforce a judgment. You understand? So you got automatic stays, and then you have to request a stay. Okay, so a stay, remember I was saying, like, a stay is an injunction. So that's why I say you can put the injunction with the stay, go hand in hand, because it's both of them telling you stop from doing something, right? Refrain from doing it. If you look up the definition of injunction in the Black's Law Dictionary, right, it's to stop you from doing something or it commands you to do something. Okay, so Rule 62, it says automatic stay. The step is provided in Rule 62 C and D. Execution on a judgment proceedings to enforce it are stayed for 30 days after its entries unless the court orders otherwise. So that's the automatic stay, right? So it's different stays they breaking it down to. You got A, B, C, D, different ways you can stay a case, all right? So B says stay by bond or other security. Anytime after judgment is entered, a party may obtain a stay by providing a bond or other security. The stay takes effect when the court approves the bond or other security remains in effect for the time specified in the bond or other security. So those two types of stays. One of them is a stay for a judgment, right? It's an automatic stay. One is a stay on a bond. So what it's saying is, okay, the enforcement, number A says the enforcement of any judgment is stayed for 30 days. So that's why I was just breaking down with like El Chapo. Let's just go back to El Chapo, right? So when you're going through the two phases of court, first you get convicted, right? So that's the judgment. You see what I'm saying? That's the judgment. So you get a judgment placed on you. But you're not going to get sentenced. They got to give you at least 30 days before they sentence you. So that means they stand the enforcement of that judgment. So the judgment cannot be enforced. Everybody has a grace period, 30 days to the judgment be enforced. Why? Because in that 30 days, you can appeal it. So that's why you get the 30-day appeal, right? Because even if you lost the case, you got convicted, you still got the right to appeal within the 30 days. They're not just going to automatically enforce it on you. Like, you don't supposed to automatically, like once you sentence, you don't supposed to automatically get your time that same day. So even though you get found guilty, no, you have to come back to court, have another hearing in 30 days to now give you your time. See what I'm saying? And you can challenge jurisdiction within that time. So that's part A, where you can stay. So I'm just breaking this down so we can understand what a stay is, right? Number two is stay on a bond. So after the judgment is entered, if a person put the bond on or security, then they have to stay whatever judgment was entered, right? So that's like, think of a situation with eviction. So somebody get evicted, but they want to appeal the eviction. They have to place a bond to appeal the eviction. So the bond would be the cost of the rent. So the reason why they put that security deposit in on the case is because if they lose their appeal, then the plaintiff or the winning party already collecting their money. You feel me? So that's that type of state. So C, let's go to C. Now this is a different type of state. This is a state of an injunction, receivership, or patent accounting order. Unless the court orders otherwise, the following are not stayed after being entered, even if appeal is taken. An interlocutory or final judgment in the action for an injunction or receivership, or a judgment order that directs an accounting in an action for patent infringement. So that type of injunction is dealing with patents, right? So we're talking about patents and invention. So once a person was granted an injunction on a patent, is no stay on that. It's no stay on the injunction. The injunctions are enforced automatically. You see what I'm saying? And so once a judge grants you a injunction mode, it's automatically enforced. There's no delay period. There's no 30 days between that. There's no stay to that. So they're letting you know that on part C. Now let's go to part D. Injunction pending an appeal. While an appeal is pending from an interlocutory order or final judgment that grants, continues, modifies, refuses, dissolves, or refuses to dissolve or modify an injunction, the court may suspend, modify, restore, or grant an injunction on terms for bond or other terms that secure the opposing party's rights. If the judgment appealed from is rendered by a statutory 3-judge district court, the order must be made either, scroll that down. Judgment must be made either, what was that? I lost my, okay. Number 1, by the court sitting in open session, or 2, by the assent of its all judges as evidenced by their signatures. Okay, so that's the way you stay a proceeding when an injunction, when you're appealing like a judgment, you're appealing an order or a grant. You see what I'm saying? That's like what we trying to do, like you appealing. You're not going through a appellate court or anything, but when we put in this motion stay, these are some of the grounds we kind of we gonna put in. You know what I'm saying? That we actually stay in this based on appeal of the judgment or order granted anything they trying to move forward. We finna stop them from doing this. So appeal can be made through an injunction is what it's saying. So this is another form of a stay. Now E says stay without a bond on appeal by the United States as officer. So that's a different kind of stay. Let's go into F. Stay in favor of a judgment debtor under state law. So that's commercial. Like if you're dealing with you a debtor and you got a judgment placed on you in a state by the state law, somebody sues you. So you can put a stay on that. Okay. 8, appellate court's power not limited. This rule does not limit the power of the appellate court or judge of its judges or justices. Number 1, to stay proceedings or suspend, modify, restore, or grant an injunction while an appeal is pending, or to issue an order to preserve the status quo or the effectiveness of the judgment to be entered. All right. So it's letting you know, okay, the appellate courts have unlimited power to stay proceedings. So now you understand what a stay is. A stay is to suspend, modify, restore, or grant an injunction. So that's what I mean by, like, when you doing the injunction process, you want to go through the federal court with it. You want to get a judge to sign off on a real injunction if you really want to make it effective, right? Because the judge is supposed to grant these injunctions. Because at the end of the day, a judge has the power to tell the law enforcement not to do something to you. A sheriff or nobody don't got that power. They have to follow, like if you got a warrant out on you, the sheriff has to follow the court order. See what I'm saying? So why not go to the highest law enforcement, get him to grant it, and then you can enforce it upon anybody you like. So that's what I mean. Like, that's what I have done before with a client. We have successfully done this. You see what I'm saying? With the same template I sent you. I did this 2 years ago. The truth never changes or pass away. You know? Hold on. I didn't mean to pull that up. All right, let's continue. H. It says stay with multiple claims of parties. A court may stay the enforcement of a final judgment entered under Rule 54B until it enters a later judgment or judgments as may prescribe the terms necessary to secure the benefit of the stayed judgment of the party for the party in whose favor it was entered. Okay? So this is a different type of stay. So according to the rules of civil procedure, this is something that a judge can't deny. A judge can't. See what I'm saying? This is his procedures. Even he got to follow. Okay. So even in this. And I just want to show you, like, according to the civil rules of civil procedure, right, what a stay really is. So we can see how a stay is an injunction. Now, what we using is federal law because that's just a procedure. So I'm just letting you know how a procedure look, right? But what is the law we're going to use? The law we're going to use is 28 U.S.C. subsection 2883, stay of state court proceedings. So we want to stay the proceedings that's going on in the state court, right? We want to secure that you go to court, they cannot enforce any type of jurisdiction over, right? They can't move forward on their proceedings. Proceedings means like it goes from preliminary to pre-trial to trial to you convicted to your sentencing. That's the proceedings. So we want to stay that. We want to stop that. We want to injunction that, right? So this is how you do it. Okay, so let's open this up and read this. We don't even have to open it up. That's basically all it said. A court of the United States may not grant an injunction to stay a state proceedings in a state court except as expressly authorized by act of Congress or, right? This is what we basing on. Or where necessary in aid of its jurisdiction. Or to protect or effectuate its judgments, right? So the court already granted you notice of removal, right? But yet they haven't served them. So that's the other paper I'm going to send you too, to serve. I should have just sent it just now. I'm going to send it to you to serve these people, right, on the record. So we can, once they serve, they under the jurisdiction of the federal court. But so this is the only condition where you can have an injunction from the federal court. It's where it's necessary to aid the jurisdiction of the federal court because they got jurisdiction over the case now. Or they would have denied your removal. You get what I'm saying? They can deny filing, like, no, that's frivolous. You know what I'm saying? It's no marital law. You know what I'm saying? We denied it. No, they granted it. So it's necessary in the aid of that, aiding you and protecting you. It's a necessary thing right now. It's an emergency. It's actually an emergency at this point. Because if you are further damaged or get further injuries, that would fall on the federal court fall. We can sue the federal court over this because they're supposed to aid you. Once they remove the case mode, they're supposed to aid you in that process. So since we know they try to work with the state, we're gonna demand he do this. You see what I'm saying? Because if not, then of course they're gonna just let more and more time go, right? Like they've been doing. So let's read this what I made, the template. Okay. So this is an emergency state of the state court proceedings. This is an emergency state pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 2283. All right. I did this 4 years ago. It's saying this 4 years ago. More I've been doing this. All right. So to the judge, to the chief judge, at that time, you're gonna put it to the judge, whoever the judge is on your case, right? You're gonna send it directly to the judge. This is for him, right? So in regard, demand for emergency stay of proceedings, you're gonna put your docket/case number, because the docket and case number, same thing, right? You're gonna put that down. So this is pursuant to that. This is in response to your case. You're gonna address the judge, dear Chief Judge Barbara M.G. Land. We addressed at that time, right? We did this in Dallas. Okay, pursuant to 28 U.S.C. subsection 2883, this letter is my formal written demand for a stay of state court proceedings in the above referenced case, Hill County Courthouse Corporation, administrative, and then you put the judge, state court judge name. You look up his bar card number too. That's easy Google search. You see what I'm saying? Just look up his bar membership. I can help you with that. You know what I'm saying? But you get his bar card because this proves a reason why you stand is because this lawyer is acting as a judge. For one, he causes you injuries. So he have violated all due process of law under the color of authority to switch to the proper venue by unlawfully seizing my body without warrant or proper cause. So that's what happened to the client at that time. When we removed the case, he missed his court date in the state court. They locked him up. So I went back to the federal court, put this in here, they granted it. See what I'm saying? But so on your case, we ain't gonna let you miss court, right? Ain't missing no court. Unless we get this stay. Now, if you get this stay granted before court, you can file this in the state court. That stopped the court date. And we're gonna make them serve them, but serving them might take a couple of weeks for them to serve it. So we're going to put the stay in. So we're going to say, this is how we're going to word it. Okay. After we name the judge, now you're going to say, have scheduled, he has continually violated all due process of law under color of law by color of authority to switch to the proper venue by unlawfully requiring me to come to court on March 27th. Right? Or whatever the date is. So right here in this last line is the only line you have to change. What I'm saying, let me show you. This is the line you have to change. You see what I'm saying? That was the line you would change to fit your particular situation. So your situation is they scheduled the court. They haven't stopped the court date. It's still scheduled. So he's unlawfully moving the due process of law under his color of authority to switch to the proper venue, because the proper venue is the Article 3 venue. How do you do this? By scheduling you to come to court. You see what I'm saying? So that's all you got to put in that one line. By scheduling you to come to court on March 27th. And then you can put the court address or whatever they schedule you to come to. You see what I'm saying? And then I'm going to continue reading. The United States District Court, you notice how I spelled United, right? The Republic. So I'm demanding, I'm pulling the Republic out of them. You feel me? I'm turning this to a Republic venue. The United States District Court, North District of Texas, has original jurisdiction, right? When you understand what original jurisdiction and limited jurisdiction, the state courts have limited jurisdiction. Federal courts have original jurisdiction, means All cases supposed to originally go to Article 3 because we Moors. This has never been a state court. Y'all have original jurisdiction, so that's an excuse right there. That's the reason why we never should have been inside the state court in the first place, because first of all, the federal court has original jurisdiction. Okay? So pursuant to the United States of America Republican Constitution, Article 3, in order to give aid and assist in this controversy and to be heard by a competent Constitution court of law, this emergency state of state court proceedings is needed. Right? We ain't got to give them 10 pages on this. This is why it's needed. It's because it's based in law. It's rooted in law. This is not, I'm just saying, oh, I'm scared, right? Oh, I don't want to face it. This is rooted in the law. Y'all had original jurisdiction. We moved it to the proper venue in the first place. In the first place, we moved it to the proper venue, and now it's not being honored. It looked like, okay, they still trying to play with me, put out a warrant on me, right? So we are asking you to aid and assist in this controversy and to be heard by a competent constitutional court of law. We can't get no remedy in a state court. We already put a special appearance in that. They're not moving under Constitution, right? Then we put Article 3 in here. Article 3, the United States of America Republican Constitution. The judicial power should extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution. Okay? So we're talking about who got the judicial power of the laws of the United States and treaties made or shall be made under their authority to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, and between the state and the citizens thereof and foreign states. Right? Basically, so we're showing them how they have original jurisdiction on Article 3, Section 2. Now, we could have used Article 3, Section 1, because that's where it actually states, so we can actually change that. We can actually change that. In fact, let's do it right now while we're on here. Open this up. Because on Article 3 actually says original jurisdiction. But anywhere it goes, you're still showing in the law. Right? Article 3 of the Constitution. Right? Okay. So clause 2 right here, section 2. It says, in all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. So they got original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, and such exceptions and other such regulations as the Congress shall make. So that's why we going against the state. The state is the party, right? The state is the defendant. The state is the defendant in this matter. Right? So they have jurisdiction. They have original jurisdiction because diversity of citizenship, they already granted the removal. If you couldn't remove it, if you didn't have a standing and status to remove it, they wouldn't grant it. They couldn't by law.
But I don't know if it got a grant. Did it get granted just because it got the docket number?
Yeah. That's you got to be familiar with the federal. Yeah. See, it's no in between. It's no in betweens. Is it going to get granted or is it going to get denied? Okay, just because they don't give you something, they're not always going to give you a favorable reply and say, okay, it's been granted. Explain these things because so you got to understand, when you come in pro se, they expect you to know the federal rules of civil procedure. You have to study these things. They expect you to know on the level of a lawyer. So they're not going to explain some things to you, right? So when your case was filed, that's what it means. It's filed means granted. File is synonymous with granting. So if it was filed in the court, they gave it a filing number. They signed the judge. By their actions, you can see it was granted. Because the opposite to that would be they were not allowed to be filed. They wouldn't assign a court docket number, wouldn't assign a judge to it. So it's either going to be denied or approved. There's no in between. There ain't no maybes. Ain't no maybes in court, man. It's only approved or denied. Once it's filed, it stands. If they want to deny it from now they have to put a court order in to deny you. See, if you was denied, it would have been a court order that said you were denied. No, they gave you a court order and said it was filed. So, yeah, because if it wasn't granted, you wouldn't be able to file nothing in the case. They'd be like, no, that case is closed. How are you going to file something in a closed case with something that we didn't allow you to do? All right. So that's the background behind this motion in state. So let me go back into template. Okay, and then we put the 28 USC on there, right? We put the law on there. We show them what the law is, what the law say. Pull it up. And 1 second, can move slow. All right, so this right here to it. I can't get around. That's clause 1 and clause 2, right on there. Article 3, section 2. See, this is the law. They can't override the law. See, they bound by the Constitution. Under Article 6, it says all judges in every state shall be bound thereby. This is supreme law of the land. See, it's not a choice of matter. They don't get a choice to choose. Once it's an emergency, to aid and assist in the jurisdiction of this court. Because we want to see, the thing is that we're telling the state court that the federal court has jurisdiction now. So whatever the judge has to do to aid in that, he has to do according to the federal law. He can't deny you aid of invoking jurisdiction over this court. Can't be denied. So we're going to send this to the judge, and then we're going to send a letter to the clerk telling them to serve all parties. So we send it 2 different parties at the same time, with 2 different letters, 2 different envelopes, put in 2 different envelopes, send certified mail so you hold each person accountable. So we send one to the judge on your case now in the federal court. This is all filed in federal court. Then we're going to send one to the clerk of the federal court. Right? So while they being served, which they should have already been served because they told you on the phone they've been served, but they never gave you a return receipt. Or they never gave you a bill for it. You know what I'm saying? Because they supposed to charge you at least $75 if they didn't take it out to $400. I think it's additional $75, but they're supposed to give you some type of return receipt. So since they didn't, we're going to send something to the clerk. Let them know. We didn't get a return receipt. You never sent out. You say you served. We talked to you verbally. Nobody was served. Because if it was served, it shouldn't have been a court date on the state court. And we should have received a receipt from the U.S. Marshals by mail. We haven't received anything by mail. We looked online. We haven't seen one filed online neither. Right? So at this point, nobody's been served. So
Yeah,
now,
but also though, when I called the clerk, but he was saying that it never did. The paperwork never went in front of the judge, so that's why it never got filed to go to any marshals or send out anything.
See, that's not due process of law though, because it don't have to go in front of the judge. They went in front of the clerk. The clerk issued the service, not the judge. But that's why we're gonna write this clerk. See what I'm saying? So we're gonna deal with the clerk separate from the judge, because the clerk has powers. So let's look up the federal rules. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See, if you want to know their procedures, you can't go off because man knows not from being told. You have to go from where the proof is at, right? So let's see. Notice of removal to federal court. Okay. So this is what we're going to hit the clerk with. Okay, so this is the procedure. All right, this is how it's supposed to go. Not what the clerk say. This is how it's supposed to go. Okay, 28 U.S.C. 1446, procedure for removal of civil actions. All right, let me pull the screen down a little bit so I can read it. All right, it says, generally, a defendant or defendants desiring to remove any civil action from a state court shall file in the district court of the United States for the district and division within which such action is pending. A notice of removal signed pursuant to Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure and containing a short and plain statement on the grounds removal together with a copy of all processes. Okay, so now this is the law. Now the law is telling you that Rule 11 is the law as well, because they implemented it in there. So it's telling you that once you file this case in here, right? This is how you the first way. This is how you remove the case. If you desire to remove the case, you have to file in district court. Okay. Then B is going to go down to the requirements of that. Okay. So it says B, requirements generally. So it got one, right? So that's the first way. It's the requirement is that this notice removal of civil action proceeding shall be filed within 30 days after receipt by the defendant through service or otherwise of a copy of initial pleading setting forth the claim for relief upon which such action or proceeding is based, or within 30 days after the service of summons upon the defendant if such initial pleading has been filed in court and is not required to be served on the defendant, whichever period is shorter. So it's letting you know, okay, notice of removal has to be filed within the first 30 days of you getting your state court. Now, the reason why they accepted our removal, this is why I'm telling you, it was accepted and granted because it's proven. Because this law right here is saying you can only remove a case in 30 days, so they're supposed to deny it, right? But why didn't they deny it? Because it is. I'm just show you. This is why yours didn't get denied. You got to scroll down to see what requirements removal based on diversity of citizenship. See that? Now this is something different. Now a case may not be removed under subsection B3 on the basis of jurisdiction conferred by section 1332 more than 1 year after the commencement of the action, unless the district court finds that the plaintiff has acted in bad faith in order to prevent a defendant from removing the action. All right. So that's why they had to approve it, because you based your removal on diversity of citizenship. So by you removing your case based on diversity of citizenship, you get an extra year. See, a U.S. citizen can remove his case based off jurisdiction constitutional questioning, right? He can remove that in 30 days, right? If it's a constitutional violation, a U.S. citizen can remove his case within 30 days of him getting summoned to come to court. So that means as soon as you get that summons, they say you got a court date, right? Bam, you got 30 days to remove the case if you was a U.S. citizen. But by you being diverse of citizenship, since the first day you got your case, you got 1 year to remove it. And that's not even law because it says it's exception to that rule. It says unless the court finds that the plaintiff has acted in bad faith to prevent the defendant from removing the action, right? So if it's some type of way they probably locked you up where you can't file no paperwork or something like that, you can still get out and remove the case after 1 year based on diversity of citizenship. See, nationality matters. See, nationality really matters. This is it right here. It's showing you. You see what I'm saying? So that's now, okay. Now let's go and look at what they talking about, Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11. So we can further see the procedure of a removal. Okay? Because that's 1332. Let's see. Oh, hold on, wait. Now, hold on, wait. Now, let me show you what the clerk supposed to do in this section, section D. Matter of fact, let me show you what the clerk supposed to do. All right. So this ain't got nothing to do with no judge. This ain't got nothing to do with no judge, Mo. It says notice to adverse parties in state court. So this is the procedure. This is the law, how they supposed to get notice in state court, Mo. Promptly. It says promptly. We got that in our Constitution. Remember, promptly. Promptly after the filing of such notice of removal of a civil action, the defendant or defendants shall give written notice thereof to all adverse parties, and shall file a copy of the notice with the clerk of such state court, which shall effect the removal, and state court shall proceed no further. So you did that, right? You filed that. You did absolutely. That. You did your part. So it ain't got nothing to do with no judge. Judge ain't got to look at nothing. It's between you and the clerk. You get the clerk notice. It's supposed to be effective. You see what I'm saying? Now we're gonna tell the clerk, why did you serve him with the U.S. Marshals? We need a receipt for that. We did our part. We got proof of that. And we're gonna send in a certificate of did we send a certificate of service already?
No.
I think I put it with the notice of removal. I usually put it with the notice of removal.
Oh yeah, it's right. Well, I didn't send it in. I filed it. I went down to the courthouse and actually, filed it. That's it. I ain't sent nothing to the clerk.
Well, that is sending it to the clerk. You file it. If you file in state court, that's to the clerk. That's notice to the court right there. It's filed on record. See what I'm saying? It's filed on record already. It says, which shall effect the removal, and the state court shall proceed no further.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, they definitely got all that.
Yeah, so really, you don't really technically, you probably shouldn't go to the state court. Technically. Because once you gave notice to the clerk of the state court, it says shall effect the removal. See how it says the last line. It says, which shall effect the removal, and the state court shall proceed no further. There's no, they don't have no options, Mo. They don't have no options. Once you gave notice with the clerk of such state court, which shall effect the removal, and the state court shall proceed no further unless, and until the case is remanded. So a judge has to remand the case back down to the state court for them to have jurisdiction again. They don't have no more jurisdiction. It's over. But we're going to put some extra insurance on that, right? But it's already done, Mo. So that's why I be trying to tell you, like, this is already done. I ain't just talking. I don't want you to just follow what I'm saying. Follow this law. That way you can have a basis of argument to stem from that, what they supposed to do once you know what they supposed to do and what has been done. See what I'm saying? Okay, now let's go to Federal Rules of Procedure 11. So that's what it said. What's the rule for that? Rule 11. Right. Signing pleadings, motions, and other papers, representations to the court, sanctions. Okay. That's not really dealing with removing. That's dealing with you actually filing your case. This dealing with you actually filing your case. It's not really dealing with notice of removal. Let's go to the notice of removal. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Removal. Federal Rules. Let's look at that. Okay. So that pretty much takes us back to the law of 1446. There you go, Rule 81. That's what I'm looking for. Rule 81. Okay, remove cases. Remove actions. Gotta go all the way down to C for this. Now, this is Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 81. Remove actions. Number 1, applicability. These rules apply to apply to a civil action after it is removed from a state court. Number 2, further pleading. After removing, repleading is unnecessary unless the court orders it. So you don't have to replead. We really don't have to do what we're doing. It's unnecessary. A defendant who did not answer before removal must answer or present other defenses or objections under these rules within the longest of these periods. Okay, so it's saying if you didn't file an answer in the state court, but you removed it to the federal court, you still got to answer, because all we doing is removing it from this judge to a federal judge. So if we told these people, special appearance, they got to prove jurisdiction, now they got to prove in the federal court. Okay. So let's go down to 3B. So, because 3 talking about demand for a jury trial. So you got to make a demand for a jury trial always. Okay. B, on a Rule 38, if all necessary pleadings have been served at the time of removal, a party entitled to a jury trial under Rule 38 must be given one if the party serves a demand within 14 days after it files a notice removal. So we put that in the notice removal, right? We put that in the notice removal. We always put that in the notice removal. We demand a jury trial in all pleadings. So go to D. D says law applicable. Number one, state law defined. When these rules refer to state law, the term law includes the state statutes and state judicial decisions. Okay, so it's just breaking down who this apply to, right? Or how they apply certain definitions. But this is the rules, Mo. This is the rules of civil procedure of removal actions. This is the law behind remove actions. And let's go, matter of fact, let's go to what we based it on. We based our removal on 28 USC 1332. All right. Diversity of citizenship.
The USC code overrides the state, right?
It don't really override the Constitution, Supreme Law land. The USC codes is the federal law, so it applies to all states, but it applies to the federal courts. It's telling the federal courts what they're supposed to do. It's telling the federal government what they're supposed to do.
Gotcha. All right.
So under this, it says what? The district court shall have original jurisdiction of all civil action. Where the matter of controversy exceeds the sum of value of 75 bands, exclusive of interest and costs, and is between citizens of different states. So this was the basis of our removal right here. The federal courts have the original jurisdictions in all cases, all civil actions of citizens of different states, citizens of a state and citizens of subject of a foreign state. So you're never supposed to be in a state court, period. That's why diversity of citizenship and nationality really matters. Because you're not supposed to be in that court. Right? So let's go to this right here. Subsection C, a corporation shall be deemed a citizen of every state which has been incorporated in of the state or foreign state where it has its principal place of business. So the state of New Jersey is a citizen of the United States. So that makes you, if you're a non-U.S. citizen and your plaintiff is a U.S. citizen, that's diversity. That's diversity. And that's how we get them every time. Because they still a citizen. See what I'm saying? They not, and you're not a citizen of the same. That's why we don't say we state residents and things like that. Okay. Now let's go. Now let me show you about what it says about declining. See, if they wouldn't have filed it, it would have been declined. So go to subsection 3. It says, this is what it says. A district court may, in the interest of justice, and looking at the totality of the circumstances, decline to exercise jurisdiction under paragraph 2, right? Over a class action which greater than 1/3 or less than 2/3 of the members of all proposed plaintiff classes in the aggregate in the primary defendants are citizens of the state in which the action was originally filed based on consideration. So it's letting you know that they can decline this, more. They could have declined it. They could have declined exercising their jurisdiction. They could have declined your filing, but they didn't because you had the right status and standing, and they know it. They looked at the totality of the circumstance. They looked at the interest of justice, and they said, yeah, we're going to file it. It makes sense. You're a Moorish American. No, but you already came and let us know. You gave us notice y'all was coming. We already made house resolutions. We already know this is not something you just making up and concocting out of the top of your head, man. We already know you truly are not a U.S. citizen. And you going against a U.S. citizen. You going against the state of New Jersey, who is a U.S. citizen. Because it just shows you in this diversity law that a corporation shall be deemed a citizen. So you have to understand how your nationality, how this really plays out in their law. You can present, this is what I present to these people. This is what I told them. And that's why they granted it. Islam? You got any questions?
No, that summed it up. State of New Jersey is once I really kind of like got the hint of that, like after reading that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. New Jersey, so that's the citizenship right there for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They're a corporation. That's why we identify them as just a corporation. We don't identify them and say like acting like they're not a corporation. Corporation is dealing with citizen. And all government, and truth be told, all governments are corporations.
It ain't no true government, yeah, because they all got EIN numbers.
Exactly. So there's no way they can get around it. Act like, oh, we're not a corporation. Well, why you got an employee identification number? You're not a corporation. See what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that.
They play a mean game, man. They play a mean game.
They play the color of law. They hide themselves in plain sight. You know what I'm saying? They masters at this. They masters at this more. And then, okay, we can take it further than this. Because you see what I'm saying? I can go in this all day, Mo. We can go in 28 USC, what did it say, 1441, right here. Now this is the law we was just going through, and we seen the removal. We went to 1446 early, right? The procedure to move. So now we're going to 1441, removal of action. So this is the actual law we based it on. I mean, we based it on Article 3, but it's based on this. So one is procedure, one letting you know, this is letting you know what kind of actions that can be removed. To put it, you know what I'm saying, just make it real plain. This is letting you know which type of actions can be removed. Removal of civil actions, but what kind of actions? So 1441 lets you know, generally, except as otherwise expressly provided by Act of Congress, any civil action brought in a state court in which the district courts of the United States have original jurisdiction may be removed by the defendant or the defendants to the district court of the United States for the district and division embracing the place which such action is pending. So any action, any civil action in the state court can be removed by the defendant if the United States have original jurisdiction. Who got original jurisdiction? They got original jurisdiction. I took myself out it's in the last 1332. So now they're gonna break down the two situations where they have original jurisdictions. Well, not two, but a few situations. But the number one way is what? B, removal based on diversity of citizenship. It goes back to nationality every time. And this is what it says in this. It says, look, number one, in determining whether a civil action is removable on the basis of the jurisdiction under Section 1332 of this title, the citizenship of defendants sued under fictitious names shall be disregarded. So that means your straw man, your fictitious name, does not apply to your nationality, your diversity. Hold you by a fictitious name and say, no, Michael Jills is a U.S. citizen. He can't remove this. He don't have the, no, that's disregarding the federal court. That's disregarded. Fictitious names is disregarded in federal court. Assumed name, DBA, fictitious names are disregarded, man. Because we coming under nationality. We basing this on diversity, citizenship. It don't matter what that straw man name is. That's not even. We talking about the living man right now. We're not talking about a fictitious name in federal court. We're talking about the living man and the human rights and civil rights and indigenous rights. We ain't got nothing to talk about no fictitious name and you hold me under a straw man. Straw man should be disregarded in federal court. That's why I say you have to put the free national name on the record when we was doing the injunction. You got to put the free national name ex-rel. He got to ex-rel the fictitious name. You in relation to the fictitious name, you represent that fictitious name, but you coming as the living man with a nationality, because if you're not coming with a nationality, you can't base it on diversity citizenship. And then you limit yourself in the box with the rest of the Negroes. Right? You cause a disability in law. That's called a legal disability. When you strip yourself of nationality. They can't get around that, Mo. That straw man name don't got no power in this situation. They can't prove you no resident need. How they gonna prove you a resident? How they gonna prove you on their jurisdiction? Because it's all based on consent contract. They can't prove you on their jurisdiction. No way, no how. Islam. So that's you ain't got. If anybody got questions, we'll close it out. If nobody got questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, man.
I wonder if you can, when you're gonna have some time free during the week, so I can address and throw some things at you, so you can help me understand a little better as far as the names of the L's and B's, because I like to start correcting my name as far as that.
Okay. Let's tap in tomorrow. I have time Monday. First Monday.
Great.
Tomorrow, Monday. You an hour ahead of me, so you can go at like 12 your time.
12 my time, so 11 your time.
Yeah, 11 my time. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
And
no, wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, so that's 12 my time. Cause the meeting starts at 1, right? Your time, and so for me it's 2. Yeah, got it. All right, so 12 my time tomorrow.
Yeah.
Islam, I appreciate that.
I'm gonna put my number in you got my number already? I'm gonna put my number in the group chat.
Yeah. I mean, I text you on the. Oh, let's see.
Are we already?
Yeah, I think so. I appreciate that. Islam.
I think I still didn't get that email yet.
It didn't come through? I sent it to Michael Gills. It went through at 3:09. Probably just got to refresh your email, that's all. It said it went through 57 minutes ago. You just probably got to refresh your email, that's all. Any other questions? One.
Yeah, I refreshed it. Still ain't coming. I don't know. I still don't see it. It's mgiles28@yahoo.com.
You even got your name on there. It says Michael Gills, mgiles28@yahoo. But you know Yahoo more. You need to start messing with Yahoo. That's what it is. It's Yahoo doing that. Yahoo was like the 1990s email. That's over with, man. You gotta use Gmail. Because Yahoo, sometimes they don't send certain things to your Yahoo. You gotta use Gmail, Proton Mail, man. Use them two only. Don't get rid of that Yahoo. That's what it is, Yahoo. I'll resend it again back to you, but I'm gonna forward it to you again. It's that Yahoo, man. See, yours already saved in there. Michael Gills, I ain't even got to type it in. It's already saved. Send it again. That's that Yahoo. That's all it is. Yahoo, man, they be delaying stuff. You know, Yahoo ran by the government.
And I'm tired of that. I'm very tired of that.
What, the government intercepting your emails?
Oh no, not me. I'm just saying, like you said that we're governed by the government, and that's something that really bothers me. Like, it directly contradicts what I'm trying to do in my life.
All right, I sent you my other my Gmail, so maybe it go through there because it still ain't go through this one. I don't know what's going on with Yahoo.
Yahoo declining. That's all.
Yeah, I sent it to your I sent it to your number. My other.
All right, let me send it to you right now.
All right, peace and love. That's all I got. What I'm gonna do is just get busy on that stuff, and then probably reach out to you tomorrow and let you send it out, look over everything, make sure everything got.
Okay. Send it. Okay. That's sent out right now. You should be getting that. Probably take like 5 minutes. If not, just text me. Just text me. Let me know. I'll send it again.
All right. Cool.
All right. We're gonna close this meeting. We're gonna close the meeting. We got city class Wednesday. Sunday school. Friday holiday service again. All right. Also, announcement. We're gonna have an Easter annual conference again. I decided to go ahead and have it. I know it's a late start. But we're gonna put it out to the public to bring in more members and things like that too. So last year was the first conference we had. It was strictly just for the members. This one is gonna be for the public, but we're not expecting no more than probably 20, 25 people. All right, we got some new Morrises coming in, some sisters coming from Georgia, coming from Alabama. They've been helping. I'm going to share the flyer today, and then we're going to post the flyer on the social media Monday. So spread the flyer on the social medias so we can bring in some new members and introduce them to this Morris Science next month. So that's the only announcement for that. Make sure everybody's signing in attendance. Go ahead, Danny Murray. You had a question?
Yeah, I was also going to ask you about a couple of how do we go about as far as invitations and people that I think would be good for them to be aware of the movement.
You said who? Immigration?
About people that are interested and people that I've tried to vet out to join the movement.
Okay. So we got an orientation group going right now. So anybody that you feel is interested, first you have to screen them, see if they're ready, right? Yourself, read the laws, that they agree to the divine constitution bylaws, that they agree to the additional laws. Then once they come under the jurisdiction, then you send them the manual. Okay, send them a manual, and then they can enter into orientation once you let me know, okay, they ready, they're straight. You know what I'm saying? They ready to start purchasing their books. They ready to start getting their fairs and turban. They ready to start orientation. Then they go on orientation. So orientation is, they have to complete the manual to get out of orientation as far as getting all their books that's required. They have to get the fairs and turban. They have to get their Lawnmower's literature, you know, Black's Law Dictionary. Then we allow from orientation to come into the group with us. So right now we got 7 people in orientation. Right now we got like 5 sisters and like 2, 3 brothers, you know, in orientation. They've been going through orientation. Some of them have been going through orientation for like 4 weeks. So orientation normally like 4 weeks. So next month you're gonna start seeing a lot of new members come in with us. All right, because they've been going through the orientation. They're gonna come in ready. Because like a lot of us, I just kind of like, even you, Danny Murray, you didn't get a chance to go through orientation. So it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, we was getting ready as we learning. So that's why we want to have an orientation. So they come in, they got their fairs and turban, they got their books ready, they ready to rock, they know, they understand the assignment. You understand? Because they know, okay, we got to pay dues and things like that. So we want to give them an orientation period of 30 days before they have to start paying their dues. So you have to explain these things to them. You got to do this, you got to do that. So it's on you because they're coming through you. You know what I'm saying? So it's on you to explain these things, and then I'll reinforce these things.
So it would be even good for myself, because since I really never officially went through orientation, so I would join just to make sure that I get all the aspects that the orientation gives.
Yeah, you can join the orientation group as well.
All right, great. Appreciate that.
Yeah, because we have orientation every Thursday at 7 p.m.
Perfect. Islam.
Yeah. Anybody, any more want to join the orientation group, you can, you know what I'm saying, if you want additional lessons, it's open. You know, it's not denied. They just can't come into the meetings with us in Sunday school. This is only for the faithful members. This is only ones that prove they self-faithful and that's really dedicated to this. This is strict, because once you come in, ain't no in and out. Once you out, you out. You know what I'm saying? Once you out, you out. Unless you can rectify yourself. Like if it's something not that major, you know, you just miss some meetings or you ain't paying your dues and you come back. But you disrespect Grand Sheik, you're not coming back around me. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not accepting no disrespect. You see what I posted, what I'll be going through what I posted, you know, about the different things, how they talking to me in my inbox and things like that. That's just because they ain't coming back in. They disrespect me, is over. You know what I'm saying? They disrespect me. And Morris, I know Michael Gills there, Michael Lewis, y'all know the story behind what happened with that situation. So, you know, that's the only cases when extreme disrespect go down, when you can't come back. You can't redeem yourself from that. You see what I'm saying? But in all other situations where it's no call, no show, we're going to remove you, but you'll get a chance to come back. You have to go back to your orientation, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Just for no call, no show. But we are strict on that. No calling, no showing, not making your meetings, not participating. Act 7 violations is enforced. It's going to be no favoritism. You know, I can like you personally, but when we come in this temple, it's business. It's all business, no jokes. You know, we can joke around, have fun, but at the end of the day, it really ain't no jokes. It's really a serious matter we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with nationality, diversity, citizenship, our liberty. We're dealing with our future. We're dealing with our freedom of happiness, our freedom to pursue, to be happy. You know, so this is a serious matter, right? This is for everybody, so I'm not denying no new members because people aren't going to be gaining interest. And another thing, the Jim Crowism, right? We're going to use that as a leverage to wake people up. Look what's going on in Mississippi. You see what I'm saying? Y'all so gun-ho about being residents and being 15th Amendment, right to vote. Now they're telling you don't have a right to vote. You have no right to vote. Now what? Now what you going to do? See what I'm saying? All these smart lawyers and politicians and all these guys are against you. You know what I'm saying? You thought these persons was your government and showing you this. And Jim Crowism wasn't just Mississippi, it was everywhere, right? It's all through the South. So you're going to see this spread again. People don't have the right to vote in their system, just like Noble Drew Ali said we read on Friday. you shouldn't be trying to use the 15th Amendment for your salvation. 14th and 15th Amendment is not needed for the salvation of our people in the nation. So this is the new campaign we pushing. Jim Crow is in 2023 to wake people up. Look at a real case study. Look at some real life situations, right? So you ain't got to just go about what we saying. You can see these things being manifested in something real. This is real. This is really happening. 2023 is election year. So we need to push this, okay? Because at November, people are going to be voting for Trump. They're going to be voting for Biden, whoever they're going to want to vote for. And we showed you in Article 2 of the Constitution, you cannot vote for a president. So this is the truth. And the truth has to be told to the people, right? Because you're going to have, come November, you're going to see how many people is still lost. Right? And they're not playing for people. Islam. So yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. We definitely welcome all the members. We welcome them in. We're trying to build a structure so when they come in, they get some understanding when they coming in. You know.
Islam, brother. I appreciate that.
All right, let's close out. It's 420. 26 to be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting forms. The ones that pay their divine respect to me will be remembered. Pardon, sir. The ones that pay their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That's why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase your faithfulness to me, your prophet, in your divine Moors movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that's facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy. Because of my fame and nobility, the nations of the world will not recognize the nations of the world will not recognize the movement without the prophet being hid. It has been proven by my works, which I performed in the past few years. Prophet know that you are Ali. Also, please, everybody, sign in the sign-in sheet. We do have to turn in the monthly reports today. This is the first week of the month, Islam. So make sure you sign in the sign-in sheet so we can make sure you don't count as an active member. Okay. All rise for the reading of the Moorish American prayer. Face the east. Heels touching. Feet at a 90-degree angle. Spread your wings, angels. 5 to the left and 2 to the right. Repeat after me, the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet. Amen. Salvation, Allah, unity.
Salvation, Allah, unity.
Meeting has now been adjourned. Islam.
Islam.
See you more Wednesday.